Alright, I'm going to go through this quick. Hunter has 5 quarters and 2 dimes. Well, I know 5 quarters is $1.25. And I know that 2 dimes is 20 cents. So when I add those together, Hunter has $1.45. Now Gabriel, he has 7 dimes and 5 nickels. Well, 7 dimes is 70 cents. 5 nickels is 25 cents. So when I add those, Gabriel has 95 cents. So when I compare $1.45 to 95 cents, I can see that $1.45 is greater. Number 2, we're comparing again. One of the numbers is 2.3. The other number is 2.30. Remember, when we compare, it's easier to see when we line up the decimals. I can see that in the first column, the 2's are equal. The second column is the decimals. The third column, the 3's are equal. And in the fourth column, I have a 0 and a blank, which is the same thing. So if we're comparing these two, they are equal. Number 3, we have 627.23. And then 627.023. Sorry. Again, I've lined up my decimals. In the first column, the 6's are the same, the 2's are the same, the 7's are the same, the decimal's the same. And then in this column, I have a 2 and a 0, which the 2 is bigger. So the alligator is going to eat 627 and 23 hundredths over 627 and 23 thousandths. On number 4, we had $553.65. We're rounding to the nearest whole dollar. Our whole number is $553. If we look next door to the 6, the 6 tells us to round up. The next number after 553 is going to be $554. You could either write it with 2 zeros at the end, or you could just take off the 2 zeros. It's just $554. Number 5, we're rounding these to the nearest tenth before we subtract them to find the difference. The first one, we look at the 10th column, look next door. That 2 says to keep the same. So we're going to have 13.8. The second one is 13.65. The 6 is in the 10th column. We look next door. It tells us to round up because 5 or more we round up. So that's going to become 13.7. To find the difference, we subtract. Make sure your decimals are lined up. And then we get 0.1 seconds. Number 6, we're rounding to the nearest thousandth. The first thing we have to do is find the thousandth column, which is the third one after the decimal, to the right of the decimal. We look next door. The 9 tells us to round up. That 8 is going to become a 9. So our answer is going to be 0.679 seconds. Make sure you label. On number 7, we're unrounding $77. The only two numbers that can round to $77 are $76 and $77. If we're rounding, going to go from $77 back to 77, that 77 is going to keep the same. So in that first decimal spot after, the first place value spot after the decimal, we're going to have to put in a 0 through 4 there. Pick one. For $76, it's going to have to round up. So we're going to have to put in that first spot after the decimal any number between 5 and 9 so that it rounds up. Now this one's a little tricky because it's money. Money always has 2 decimal spots. So after you pick your number in that second spot after the decimal. It can be any number 0 through 9, and that will work. So put any number 0 through 9 in that second decimal spot. Sorry about the blurriness there. So number 8, we have to take 98 and 98.367 and turn it into expanded form. The 9 is in the tens column, the 8 is in the ones, the 3 is in the tenth, the 6 is in the hundredth, and the 7 is in the thousandth column. So all we do is we actually just put those in brackets and take each digit and multiply by its place value column. So we have 9 times 10, 8 times 1, 3 times 1/10, 6 times 1 over 100, and 7 times 1 over 1,000. And all those are in parentheses with plus signs in between. For number 9, we're turning this number into word form. We have a whole number of 12, we have a decimal, and we have a partial number of 84 hundredths. The 4 is in the hundredths column, the second column after the decimal, so that's what makes it hundredths. So to write it into word form, we do the whole number first. We have 12. Our decimal we write as and. Then we write 84, that's the partial number after the decimal, so we just write it as 84. Since it's two numbers, we put a dash in the middle. And then at the very end of anything after the decimal, that last column, we put that place value in, which is hundredths. The next one, they gave us 17 and 23 hundredths. We had to write it in standard form. This is the standard form. The whole number is 17. That's everything before the decimal, 17. The decimal is and, so we put in a decimal point for the and. And then the 23, we write as 23. The trick on this one is that since it was the hundredths column, the 3 had to end in the second column after the decimal. If by chance, this is not the problem, but if it was 23 thousandths, we would have to write it as decimal 023. So that 23 is still written as 23, but the 3 is now in the third column after the decimal, which would have been the thousandths column. This was not it for the problem. It was hundreds, so this is correct for standard form. On number 11, we're selling whoopee cushions. We sold 55, 67, and 76. The easiest way to do this is to add it up. You could do it different ways, but I would just add it up. 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. We're going to write down our 8, regroup our 1. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 6 is 12, plus 7 is 19. So we're going to write down our 9. So we had 198 whoopee cushions. We sold those for $3 each. So we're going to take 198 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. We write down our 4 and regroup our 2. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 2 is 29. We're going to write down our 9, regroup our 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Make sure you put your dollar sign. $594. Number 12, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. We did this in class, but you take the 365 days times 164 stairs. That first row, which is your ones column, is 1,460. Your second row, which is your tens column, is 21,900. Your third row, which is the hundreds column, is 36,500. When you add them up, you get 59,860 stairs. For number 13, we have $1.85 that he earns every day times 100 days. When I see this, I automatically see a decimal. And we know so far in 5th grade that when we see a decimal, we just have to move it. The 100 is a power of 10. We have a 1 followed by 2 zeros, which means we're going to move the decimal spot 2 spots to the right. The reason why we're moving it to the right, we're multiplying by we're multiplying, and so our number is going to get bigger. And so when we move our decimal to the right 2 spots, we're just going to move it 1. It's going to become between the 8 and the 5. The second spot is after the 5. So when we rewrite this number, it's just going to be 185 with a decimal spot. Put our dollar sign, so he's going to have $185 in his piggy bank. If you want to, because it is money, you can add 2 zeros after it. You don't need to. It can just be $185. And you could actually get rid of the decimal and make it hidden because it's a whole number. On number 14, Drake had 2,000 rubber bands that he's splitting amongst 40 friends. So we take our total of 2,000 rubber bands and we're divvying it up, we're dividing it. So we're going to divide this by 40. No real tricks to this, except I do see that there's a 0 on the number we're dividing and the number we're dividing by. And so I can mark out 1 0 on each number, which is going to leave us with 200 divided by 4. 4 will not fit into 2, but 4 will fit into 20. It will fit in there 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, so we're going to subtract 20 from 20. We're left with 0. What's nice is when we have a remainder of 0 and we still have zeros left to do, we can bring that 0 and just pop it up. And so 50 rubber bands are going to go to each one of his friends. How we can check this, we can take 50 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. We have our same answer of 200. That is a quick check to make sure our answer is right. So the answer is 200. The last one, number 15, Boston has $20.60 that he wants to split equally between himself and 9 friends. Well, if he has 9 friends and himself, that's a total of 10 people that he is wanting to split it between. Splitting means to divide, so we're dividing by 10. And if you look here, we do have a power of 10 with 1 0. So all we have to do is move our decimal spots 1 spot to the left. We're moving it to the left because dividing we're going to make smaller. And so if we move that number here, we are going to have an answer of $2.06 per person.